Today, we are diving deep into the words of the ancient historian Josephus to track the absolutely ruthless and dramatic rise of Herod the Great. Using his account, The Jewish War, as our map, we're going to see precisely how a young, ambitious governor completely outmaneuvered a king to become the real power in Judea. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with a risky accusation made right in front of Julius Caesar. Then, we'll watch as Herod's father, Antipater, locks down his power. Next, we get Herod's first big, violent move. That leads to a wild trial scene, and then we'll see how the whole power structure in Judea gets flipped on its head. Let's get into it. So, our story kicks off not in some quiet corner of Judea, but right in front of the most powerful man on the planet at the time, Julius Caesar. And this is where a guy named Antigonus, who's the heir of a deposed royal line, decides to make his big play.
Okay, so Antigonus comes out swinging. He claims Antipater and his puppet king Hyrcanus have kicked him out of his own country. But here's the really clever part of his attack. He tries to spin their recent support for Caesar not as loyalty, but as pure desperation. He's basically saying, hey Caesar, don't trust them. They only helped you because they were terrified after backing your enemy Pompey. They're just trying to save their own skins. It's a brilliant political move.
Wow. Antipater's response is just pure political theater. He doesn't get into a long-winded debate. Nope. He just rips off his clothes in front of everyone and shows them his battle scars. Scars he got fighting for Rome. It's an argument that's way more powerful than words. He's letting his own body do the talking, and it's screaming loyalty.
Well, Antigonus's gamble just backfires. Epically. Caesar isn't just unimpressed, he goes the other way. He confirms Hyrcanus as high priest, sure, but then he gives Antipater a massive promotion. He makes him procurator, basically the Roman governor of all of Judea, and he even gets to rebuild Jerusalem's walls. This isn't just a slap on the wrist for Antigonus. It's a complete restructuring of power, signed, sealed, and delivered by Rome.
So now, with Caesar's full and public backing, Antipater doesn't mess around. He heads straight back to Judea to make sure his new title has some real teeth. And you can see his strategy unfold perfectly here. It's a textbook case of using carrots and sticks. First, the carrot. He starts rebuilding the walls, a huge project of national pride. He talks about peace. Then comes the stick. He lays down a stark warning, obey us or you'll have to deal with me as a lord and Hyrcanus as a tyrant. And then, the real genius move. He puts his own sons in charge of the most critical regions. He's not just securing power for today, he's building a dynasty. Now this is just fascinating. Look at the difference. The older son, Phasaelus, gets the nice, stable job in Jerusalem, the center of power. But the younger son, Herod, who Josephus calls an active man, gets sent to Galilee, a region known for being rebellious and tough to control. You see what Antipater's doing? He's not just playing favorites, he's matching the man to the mission. He's unleashing his energetic, ambitious kid on a region that needs a firm hand. And just like his dad probably hoped, Herod doesn't just settle into his new job in Galilee. He absolutely explodes onto the scene, immediately trying to make a name for himself. You gotta love the way Josephus puts this. Herod isn't some bureaucrat. He's an active spirit. And the bandit problem in Galilee? That's the proper materials for him to work on. This tells you everything about his character. He's a man of action, and he sees this chaotic region as a golden opportunity. And he finds that opportunity right away. He goes after this notorious bandit chief Hezekias, and he doesn't just arrest him. He executes him and his crew on the spot. No trial, no fuss. This brutal efficiency gets him two things. One, he's hailed as a hero by the locals from making the roads safe. And two, and this is way more important, he gets the attention of the real power in the area, the Roman governor of Syria, Sextus Caesar. But you know, not everyone is thrilled with Herod's sudden fame. Back in Jerusalem, King Hyrcanus is starting to sweat. He's looking at Herod's great actions, and he's not seeing a loyal servant. He's seeing a potential rival, and that's a dangerous thing. So, pressured by all the nervous whispers in his court, King Hyrcanus decides he has to do something. He summons his superstar governor, Herod, to stand trial before the Sanhedrin, which is the highest court in Jewish law. So, what's the charge? I mean, he couldn't be put on trial for killing criminals, right? Everybody was happy about that. The accusation had to be something deeper, a violation of a core legal principle. And there it is. The charge wasn't murder. It was that Herod acted above the law. By executing those men without a formal trial and a sentence from the Sanhedrin, he had basically ignored the entire justice system. His accusers were saying he was acting like a king, making his own laws, and that was a direct challenge to their authority.
This whole trial just turns into a massive display of who really holds the power. Hyrcanus summons him, but look how Herod shows up. Not like a defendant, but with a whole squad of soldiers. That's a threat, plain and simple. But the killing blow comes from outside Judea altogether. The Roman governor, Sextus Caesar, just sends a letter basically saying, let him go. And just like that, it's over. Hyrcanus has to acquit him, and it becomes painfully clear to everyone who's really in charge.
So Herod walks free, but he's been publicly insulted, and he's not about to forget it. What he does next is just stunning, and it shows that the power dynamics have shifted for good.
Just think about this for a second. A minute ago, Herod was the one on trial, called to answer for his actions by his king. And now he gets a promotion from Rome, gathers an army, and marches on Jerusalem to overthrow the very king who judged him. The defendant has come back as the judge, jury, and would-be executioner. The audacity is just off the charts. The only thing that stops him from storming the city is his own family, and their argument is all about strategy. They tell him, look, you don't actually need to take the crown. You've already won. Just by marching an army to the gates, you've shown everyone who has the real power. The threat itself was enough. So let's just quickly recap this crazy sequence of events. In an incredibly short time, Herod goes from being a new governor to the de facto military commander of the entire kingdom. He did it with a mix of ruthless action, powerful friends in Rome, and just unbelievable nerve. And Josephus wraps up this section by reminding us that all this local drama is playing out on a much bigger stage. Herod's Roman buddy, Sextus Caesar, gets murdered, which kicks off yet another Roman civil war right next door in Syria. And what do Antipater and his sons do? They immediately jump in to help Caesar's side, making their family even more essential to the winning team in Rome. And that really brings us to the big takeaway here. The trial of Herod wasn't just about Herod. It was a test case. When Jewish law, represented by the Sanhedrin, went head-to-head with an order from a Roman governor, the empire won. And it wasn't even close. It's a stark reminder of the fragile and dangerous world Judea was living in, caught in the grip of Rome.